I'm June Edwards, the Massachusetts Medium. Thank you for buying my video. This video is about red flags and trouble brewing in a relationship. And the first thing that I do want to say is, although you want to watch for red flags and you want to look for signs, do not jump to conclusions. And we will go into what a lot of this could be in just a little bit, okay? But when there are big changes in a relationship right off the bat, that could be a sign of a red flag or trouble. People have patterns, people get set in their ways, people start to do things on a regular basis. And when something seems out of the ordinary, a lot of times something's happened and something has changed. And if you weren't paying attention, it could be trouble, okay? Always try to go with your gut instinct. If something seems like it's wrong, something seems off, then you're probably right. Okay, we all have psychic intuition. You want to listen to that intuition, go with your gut instinct, and then start to look. Okay, so one of the biggest signs of trouble in a marriage has to do with sex. And if you have a regular relationship sexually and all of a sudden you have a lot less sex or you have a lot more sex, there's a good possibility that something's going on outside the relationship. And you know, a lot of times when someone is being cheated on, the person that's cheating doesn't realize that, number one, they're pulling away from you, or they're too tired, or they're ignoring you and don't want to have sex with you. They'll either smell like the other person because they haven't showered, or they don't want to have sex because they already did, or it can go the other way as well. And because they're now getting their appetite taken care of somewhere else, they have a bigger appetite for it and they're not getting anywhere near what they would like, so they want to have more sex with you. Or they're afraid that you might notice there's a change sexually, so they start initiating sex with you more often. It's also possible that if your sex life changes with introducing new things to your sex life that you hadn't discussed or talked about beforehand, that could be a little bit of a clue as well, because they may be doing that with someone else and they want to try it or initiate it at home with you. So that's usually a big indicator that something is going on outside of your relationship. So instead of jumping to conclusions, again, open your eyes, pay attention, see if other things are happening that back that up, okay? If someone's disappearing all the time, that is out of the ordinary. Let's say that they usually work 9 to 5, they're home every night by 6 o'clock, their regular routine is they're home every night except for Wednesday night, which is the night they go bowling, okay? Well, now suddenly it's, oh, I have a meeting at work. I'm not going to be home now till about 8:30. It's going to be a late night, and this is happening on a regular basis. Or they've suddenly taken on a mentoring position at work where they need to now stay late and help someone else. Or maybe they've even taken a part-time job, but you don't see any money coming in from that part-time job. People make up all kinds of things when they're having an affair or they're going outside of the relationship. And you really need to pay attention to see if things start building, okay? It's like building blocks. One lie leads to the next lie, leads to the next lie. And you also may notice that they're pulling away from you. They don't want to talk to you about things. They're not open with communication anymore like they used to be. Or when you start asking questions, they just get angry or avoid you. That's another big red flag. Also, people that maybe try to start arguments with you for absolutely no reason and then leave the house every time they start an argument. And they're starting that argument so they can leave the house and go meet someone else. There's a lot of red flags to look for. There's a lot of things that will make you wonder and make you question. And these are the things you want to pay attention to. Do they disappear every time they come home at night instead of sitting down watching television with you? Are they in the other room on their phone with the door closed? Are they in the bathroom with the door closed for a long period of time? Those are all things that people do when they're trying to go talk to someone else behind your back, if they're going outside the marriage for something. And I don't mean someone that's trying to plan his wife's 50th birthday party and, you know, for about a week there's a little activity there that's a little out of the ordinary and he's going in the other room and on the phone and things like that. You know, if there's an event going on, if there's something going on, you know, again, use your intuition. Is he just trying to be a little secretive because he's got something nice planned for you, or is this something that's been going on for a while? Another indicator would be someone out of the blue wanting to completely change their look, wanting to be different than what they normally are. Maybe your wife usually wears yoga pants and a t-shirt or a sweatshirt most of the time. And now you notice that when you come home from work, she's dressed up like she's just came home from a very professional job. She's usually in a dress. She's usually in dress slacks. She's wearing something completely different. She never wears makeup. Now she's wearing makeup. Something like that. That's a big indicator. When someone is really taking care of their appearance and what they look like, and they're not really doing it for you. They're doing it for someone else. That's a big red flag. If they're doing it for you, that's a different story. If, you know, you're coming home at night from work and, you know, she's dressed to the nines and she's doing it for you and she's not going out and she's not going anywhere and she's paying attention to you, then obviously she's doing it for you. But if she's doing it, you know, and now you come home and she's dressed like that and she runs upstairs and goes back into the yoga pants and the t-shirt for you, well, you know, darn well she wasn't dressing up for you earlier, was she? Another big red flag would be picking up dinner all the time at different places and bringing it home and setting it up like she just spent the entire day cooking for you. And you see all the takeout containers in the trash. Well, you know, once in a while, yes, we're busy, we're rushing, we're working. We do that because we don't have time to cook. But if this is a woman that cooks you dinner every night and you go grocery shopping every week and it's worked into your time, and suddenly this is happening all the time, well, what is she doing during that time when she used to be cooking or grocery shopping or whatever? So when you have blocks of time that are missing from someone, that's a big red flag as well. Avoiding you at bedtime is another big one because they have problems being intimate with you because they're not being honest with you. So it goes both ways. It could be the guy that now does not want to go to bed with you at night and he's sitting up on the couch watching TV all night, waiting for you to fall asleep before he goes to bed. Or the same thing with your wife. If she has a problem coming to bed with you now and doesn't want to be intimate with you, so she's using every excuse in the world. I've got to work late, I've got stuff I've got to do, I'm watching this TV show, anything. I don't feel good, I've got a headache, that's the norm. But avoiding you so that they don't have to have any intimacy with you and be in the same bed with you, and go to bed after you do, and then maybe get out of bed in the morning before you even get up. So they're literally just sleeping and not having any intimacy with you when you're in the same bed. That's another big red flag. So all of these things could mean that there's big trouble in your relationship, that they've brought another person in, that they've gone outside the marriage for something. It also could mean that something else is going on. So don't jump to conclusions. Try to figure out what's going on before you go on the attack or before you accuse someone of anything, okay? Even if they won't communicate with you, there could be another reason. If you know a psychic that is reliable and dependable, and the best way to find one who's accurate is through word of mouth, you can always go talk to a psychic and see what they think is going on in the relationship. And if they're good, they can be fairly accurate on what's going on. It could be a midlife crisis. Either one of you, male or female, could be having a mini or a major midlife crisis. where you woke up one morning and said, what am I doing here? What am I doing with my life? And you're questioning everything that's going on. It could be as simple as that. It could be a problem with work. And for men, even more than women, when there's a problem with their work, they don't talk about it. They do start to change their patterns. They start to get depressed. They really relate to what's going on with their job and their work. That's their identity for a lot of them. So if there's problems there and they're not comfortable talking about it, or they haven't quite figured out themselves what the problem is at work, some of these changes could be legitimate and they could be based around work. But if they're not communicating with you, you don't know this. So this is why communication is so important in a relationship. It could be something wrong in the extended family, or again, something wrong with work that they don't want you to be aware of because they don't want you to be concerned or worried, okay? Or it could be something with themselves, like their health. Maybe they went for their checkup and found out that they have heart problems and they're going to need major surgery, and they really don't want to concern you with it because you'll fly off the handle, you won't know how to handle it, and they don't know what else to do. So they're trying to avoid the subject as much as possible, and the only way to avoid the subject is to avoid you. So the best thing to do is to try to get some alone time together if you can, to try to draw out and get them to communicate what's going on. And you may find out that it's something very simple. You may want to try to get a marriage counselor or a counselor involved if you can't get them to talk about what's going on. For women, I always recommend trying to spice your life up a little bit, and guys, you can try to do the same thing. You can, there's lots of props and things that you can use in the bedroom. There's lots of outfits and things that you can wear. There's go away for a weekend. Do something like that to try to get the intimacy back a little bit so that you can talk about what's going on in the relationship and find out what the real problem is. And you may find out that it's something simple. You may find out that it's something a little more serious, like a midlife crisis, or you may find out that, yes, there is an affair. But whatever it is, you'll know, and you'll be able to handle the situation from there, because now you know what you're working with. If you don't know what you're working with, it can be very difficult. But again, don't jump to conclusions unless you actually found hard evidence. And when you've hit that point, again, I would recommend a mediator get involved, because when you're confronting someone with something that they've done wrong, you never know what the reaction is going to be, okay? So unfortunately, we all get red flags at one time or another in our relationships. We just need to know what to look for and what to do once we find them and how to handle them. So I hope this helped you a little bit, and thank you again.